Teacher Education Program, PhD in STEM Education at Stony Brook University. So in conducting this assignment, my overall takeaway of this STEM class is the importance of being an effective STEM teacher, and that is through enhancement of education opportunities and additional training and professional development that is needed. It is important to note that a teacher's attentiveness in students' learning needs, individually or in groups, make a positive and productive experience for students. This research opportunity to audit a teacher initiative program enhanced my knowledge and understanding of how truly important it is to be prepared and competent teachers should be when teaching a STEM lesson. And choosing the right program can enhance that opportunity for teachers. So I particularly choose to examine the teacher readiness program in the lens of how STEM leaders in the field can gain higher education and apply their knowledge of skills and wealth of research experience in the field of STEM, and as they eventually share and transfer over to the classroom teachers. I was curious to see how much of the research embodies the true nature of what is transferred over in the classroom. And that is why I choose to audit the PhD program in STEM education at Stony Brook University. The graduate students who participate in this program are doctoral students, and therefore they hold a unique position in empowering the STEM education in the school system. The students in this program conduct research studies examining the current issues, trends, or education experience that students are receiving in their STEM classes. Going back to my previous research resource from my assignment six, in week 6, I emphasized on the importance of education responsibilities to students when teaching a STEM lesson, and it is to seek out professional development and continued education within their respective discipline. But one of the biggest emphasis should be on the established support that school leaders in the field of STEM that can make a difference in fully launching an integrated STEM lesson. So I believe that the successful delivery of STEM lessons begins with leadership knowledge and support that truly enhances the experience for students. When school leaders take initiative themselves, it leads to richer understanding and teachers gain confidence, improve their self-efficacy. Here's a breakdown of the information I gathered from the school website. And that is the program overview, STEM coursework description, some of the program success based on their recent publications, some of the program limitations that I found, and my proposed STEM teacher program, and the conclusion and biggest takeaway of this assignment. So the students in this program follow a timeline that allows them to complete 54 credits to earn this degree. So the program aims to expose graduate students to a sequential STEM education through course content and research experience. So it also provides graduate students a preparation in the leadership role in the following area, such as being a director or supervisor in a K-12 STEM programs, STEM educators for college and universities, such as being a professor, research specialist in various aspects of K-12 STEM instruction, and also being classroom teachers with heavy focus on STEM education theory and practice. So the graduate students will gain exposure to different aspects of STEM education research, such as STEM learning, STEM teaching, STEM teacher education, and some societal issues within STEM. So the science focus coursework for these programs are composed of the following. There's history and philosophy of STEM education, which focuses on historical aspects of STEM education from past to present trends. The nature and practice of science, which is the courses that focuses on the founding core and the root of science and how it's influenced the application in other disciplines within STEM. It also focuses on STEM teacher education, which focuses on education initiatives that reflects on science teacher preparation programs, and that students are given opportunities to have introduction in the nature of research in the field. Another biggest aspect of their science-focused coursework is the introduction to other research framework within science education, which highlights some societal issues such as gender, culture, and diversity. And lastly, within their science-focused coursework, they focus on guided research opportunities, which has to be approved by a faculty supervisor, and that it takes that the students also takes qualifying doctoral examinations to be in this program. And part of their coursework is the bulk of it actually is the research methodology, which focuses on preparing students in understanding of scientific and research methodologies in preparation for their dissertation thesis. And then they also have a more depth courses within the science content, which shows kind of like an individualist type of science discipline that students would like to focus on based on like, so they have to have a master's degree in order to be in this program. So based on like the focus of their studies within their master's degrees, that's kind of like the content of what they're going to be focusing on. And like I said earlier, after there's a qualifying exam in order for them to continue to be in this program. So within this, some of the key successes that I found highlighted it's kind of highlighted in the lens of recent publications, shows that there are a variety of research focus and studies being conducted in the STEM field at the school. Some examples of their research topics are some of the recent publications are here, but going back, some of the articles and the publications were presented in some conferences, which leads to contribution in the general knowledge of the respective discipline in the STEM field. And some of the key research topics also enhances understanding, provides students in their program a wide variety of access to other research discussions related to the focus of their studies. And overall, the nature of this program really kind of allows students to have the freedom to conduct their independent studies, which highlights, their education experience, as well as like some noticings that they have in the STEM education. And like I said earlier, some of these are the recent publications. This is directly from their website. So some of them are, emphasizing on like different types of science that's embedded within STEM, and really like different topics that enhances their knowledge on those different disciplines. However, the so the program limitations. So taking this STEM course kind of really opened up my view of somewhat a disparity that students with disabilities experience when accessing STEM lessons and curriculum. So reflecting back on my research topic for my assignment 5, I heavily emphasized on the importance of inclusion model when accessing STEM lessons for students with disability, because they do have the rights to be given opportunities to receive, similar educations as their peers with non-known disabilities. So in my findings, I included the benefits. So for my findings for my assignment 5, I included the benefits of STEM lessons and fostering teamwork, collaboration, and where it can help students develop interpersonal relationship. That's why therefore this program limitations within a PhD program at Stony Brook, I found it kind of somewhat disappointing because it is a doctoral program that's being offered for students, but there is a lack of inclusion model within the course subscriptions. And there's also kind of like no clarity within how they're implementing a STEM integration model within their course subscription. I'm sure they'll go in depth more. Obviously, it's just from the website, but just like, if you're somebody that's applying to this program, there's kind of like no clear understanding of like what the integration model would look like within as you're in the program. And then so if I were to propose a STEM teacher program, or if I was to kind of like modify some of the programs that the PhD STEM education at Stony Brook currently have, some of them I would suggest to include the following. So definitely including course content that's including inclusive teaching, and also providing inclusive environments so teachers have the understanding of students with disabilities and how they could be supported in the classroom setting. And definitely the STEM integration courses I would include so that there is a kind of a clear path of how different disciplines can intertwine and how that one can affect the other disciplines respectively. And then also within, the some of the program limitations that I didn't even see in the website is that there is no mention of using assistive technology, given that, STEM is heavily focusing on technology stuff too. So there's just no mention of like assistive devices or technology that, which I find, as a special education teacher, there's a big gap. The teachers in the field do not have full understanding and how to incorporate these devices, these high-tech devices, how to incorporate them in supporting students that needs them and as they are, presented with STEM lessons. So definitely would highlight that. And then lastly, this is a leadership, like the outcome of this is like kind of a leadership role for students that's in the program. However, there it's kind of like a lack of emphasis on the leadership training. So I would add that in my proposed STEM course where there's an emphasis on leadership training within STEM topics and just like overall leadership role. And there should be, kind of like training of school leadership in supporting classroom teachers within STEM topics and how their overall leadership can promote effective teaching strategies for teachers. And then lastly, my conclusion and takeaway. So taking this STEM course has really taught me to understand the importance of differentiating lessons that caters to the needs of every student. I may not be given an opportunity to teach in the general education setting, but as a special education teacher, I've now realized that there's a lot of work to be done to support the population of students I currently serve. So although there are some research that have been improved, there's still a lot of opportunities for growth. And, in conclusion, and my biggest takeaway here is really that, the educators' self-efficacy definitely increases when they're given adequate background knowledge and really tailoring their educational opportunities within their teacher education programs that really caters to understanding STEM education in general. And then also when educators are supported definitely by school leadership who exhibit that wealth of knowledge in the STEM fields, there is likelihood that teachers' development and growth as STEM innovators definitely can improve. And therefore that can help students be more successful and thrive and be more inspired to stay in the STEM field. And definitely inclusion is imperative for sure, not just for students with disabilities, but for all students of all, you know, needs. STEM education fosters collaboration and teamwork, which help students develop social interaction and overall social growth. So there should be a more emphasis on, just like again, inclusive teaching, inclusive learning, inclusive environment. And lastly, STEM education leads to growth um, opportunities in the field, and every student definitely deserve a spot in the job market within the STEM field. And these are my resources. Thank you.